Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel where I make art and talk about my favorite topics of the week. And today, that topic is Star Wars again. You may or may not remember, but I mentioned in a previous video that I was considering bringing back an old Star Wars OC and giving her a fresh 2026 redesign. Well, what you don't know is that when I was recording that video in April, I had basically already started doing some sketches for that character, and now it's the middle of July, and I have finally completed this redesign, so let's get into it. I'm starting with the facial and Leku markings, so that once I get these down, it will be easier to apply them to the other section. You can literally see the sketch I had in the background that I immediately ignore and start to make some new decisions, which, what was the point of the sketch then? And I also modeled a low poly head for this character because I knew I would be drawing her multiple times in this project, so I figured this was an easy way to keep her looking mostly consistent. I'm no expert in Blender though, so I just made this head based on what feels right to me and what works for me. I'm also doing the lightsaber designs on this page. Originally, the OC had two lightsabers with identical designs, but then I kind of thought for story reasons, maybe she started with one and then got the second one through some other means. I'm not gonna lie, I am still sort of figuring out the backstory for this character, and I'm also designing these pendant-like accessories here. They're inspired by Chinese yokpoi, which are jade pendants usually worn at the waist, and sometimes they could be used to symbolize the virtues and values of the person wearing them. And I found that this aligned similarly to the idea of Padawan braids, and since Twi'lek don't have hair to braid, I decided to marry these concepts and have this OC wear her Padawan braid as a waist pendant, adding knots and charms during her time as a student. So that is this first one, and honestly, the second one is just for fun. Okay, so I went a little crazy, and instead of doing one simple character sheet, I decided to plan out a 6-page file that includes not only that first page for face and prop details, but also a lineup of the character at different life stages and outfit breakdowns and options for each of those stages. I already cut out my sketch phase because there would simply be too much footage for this video, and I don't think I can talk for that long. And even then, there is still plenty of drawing and redrawing during this whole process. But let me tell you about the origins of this OC. I think sometime in 2021, there was this trend of showing what would I look like if I was in the blank universe. And it would show a sort of self-insert type character through different life stages. I saw a lot of people do this for Star Wars, and most people that I saw did it with a Picru character maker. But I wanted to draw mine myself. Anyways, this whole story has almost nothing to do with the OC, except that when I did that trend, I did a bonus drawing of myself as a Twi'lek Jedi. I ended up really liking that design, so I decided to turn it into an actual OC. I always joke that I love to redesign OCs more than I like to just write or draw for them. And honestly, this is true. And it is doubly true for this character, because since her inception 5 years ago, I have done her character sheet 5 times, including this one. Except I find the issue lies mainly in the fact that I wasn't satisfied with her outfit, because every redesign before this one, her face is basically the same. Maybe some subtle differences in the coloring, but why I was so stressed about getting her outfit perfect is still a mystery to me, because clothing can change. Well, maybe that's why this new ref sheet includes so many different outfit options, though. In fairness, I will say some of the previous designs were made because I was no longer satisfied with the quality of my previous work, so I was just trying to update them to my standards and art style. One thing I am surprised stayed the same, though, is her name. I came up with Iris Verena pretty early on, and it really stuck, and I'm still really happy with it. Anyone who knows me would know I'd love to change my OC's names on a whim, especially for the ones that are important to me. Now, I don't plan on having kids, but sometimes I think about the fact that I would never be able to name a child because I'm going to hate their name after a few years. Like I said before, I am still trying to work out what the story for this character will be. On the first design, she started out as a Jedi, but the more I thought about where I wanted to take this character, the more I drifted away. I do have thoughts on her master being someone who failed the Jedi trials of the Order, and instead of trying again, left, angry and rejected. They determined that they could create a new and better order, starting with the training of a Padawan. Unluckily for Iris, that would be her. I don't necessarily think this master would be fully dark sided, but there are certainly weaknesses in their attitude and teachings, which would leave Iris in a really confusing predicament with questionable morals. And maybe eventually she meets a certain red skinned Zabrak Force user who convinces her to take revenge on the master who took her life away. Anyway, these are the thoughts that live rent free in my head, and if I never get the chance to draw or write this, at least I can make a video yapping about it, right? So I'm glad I get to put this out into the world in some way. Place your bets now. How long do you think it will be until I decide to make a new ref sheet or design for this character? If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions for other video ideas, you can let me know in the comments below. And follow me on Instagram at KaylinVerse to see the rest of my work. And if you want to support me so I can keep making more videos, you can subscribe or donate to my coffee or find my stuff for purchase on Redbubble and in print. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.